do you know about Alaska?
Well, not very much. I know it's just a large area.
Okay.
I think it's they're trying to get it made a state, I know, but it's just a territory as far as I know.
What do you think about when you think of Alaska?
Cold, big, sled dogs. It's really cold. It's like a big ice cube.
You know, there's still mountain men and grizzly bears. It's like going back 100 years.
I've never been there. I've just seen a lot of pictures in National Geographic, but other than the bears and the wild animals, I don't know much about it.
I assume that they would have electricity in the big cities, but I think they're just getting electricity in the rest of the country.
Most Alaskans probably die from being eaten or something by a bear or something.
One thing people do seem to know, Alaska is a land of lore and legend. That's part of her romance, part of the reason why sportsmen and travelers from all parts of the world come here. Once the misconceptions are swept away, once you know Alaska as she really is, her adventure and scenic beauty become irresistible. Old-timers and newcomers to the great state will tell you that you haven't seen Alaska till you've ridden in something that can float and fly.
The exciting thing about flying with an air service in Alaska is that you get to places that you cannot possibly ever see by the road. You'll go where man has never really gone before in many instances. Alaska is a vast wilderness. Our last wilderness.
Types and styles of planes are as varied as Alaska's terrain, and each are adapted to the runways available. With a prop blast, a splash, a stabilizer, and a pontoon, these winged creatures take off for the Alaska backwoods. Other types of planes have their place in Alaska, but in the bush, the float plane is king. The uncluttered, infinite, and pristine beauty of Alaska will assault your senses. The immensity and grandeur of lakes that stretch out like inland seas. Frozen, shimmering glaciers, and mountains that fill up half the sky will leave even the most jaded traveler breathless. Ever since man took to the skies and observed his world from an eagle's perspective, the very sound of a propeller, even the anticipation of flight, can make him feel like a kid again. It's a different way of seeing. It's the only way of seeing Alaska. South Central Alaska is the people part of the state. 2/3 of Alaska's entire population live within this area. The rest of the state is so vast and vacant, it affords about 5 square miles to each occupant, as opposed to the most densely crowded spot in the country, where over 322,000 people are crowded into each 5 square miles. Manhattan, however, is not home to the largest floatplane base in the world. That distinction goes to Lake Hood, just outside Anchorage. To get to the best fishing and to enjoy a bird's eye view of this magnificent state, an air charter service is the answer. But before taking to the skies, a little preparation is needed.
Yes, sir. Okay, just right. I think we can go right over here and on the bench and sit down and slip them on.
Rubber bottom boots are always in style in Alaska, and an air service will readily provide anglers with foot gear and other little comforts. The climate in Alaska can be very inviting. Temperatures in the area around Anchorage are, in fact, more moderate than in many places in the lower 48.
That's a badger, huh? Huh? It's a badger?
Beaver.
When you visit an area as large as Alaska, seeing even a fraction of its beauty within the confines of a vacation trip can be difficult. But remember, this is not your ordinary tourist stop. In Alaska, you'll find a whole new way of seeing the sights. It takes only minutes to leave behind the last glimpses of the city, and soon you're soaring over pristine lakes and rivers. It's an experience to share together, scanning memory-making vistas, and as your plane settles onto one of the thousands of beautiful water holes, you'll find yourself at arm's length from some of the greatest sport fishing in the world. It may look like easy pickings, but after hitting the fresh water, the sockeye gets finicky, and he's not going to strike at the first lure that comes his way. Avid sportsmen take fishing seriously and deck out with the best salmon rods money can buy.
I got him.
The red salmon, when it's fresh, like the ones that we're catching here, are absolutely aerobatic. They're beautiful fish. They range anywhere from 3 to maybe 12 pounds, the bigger ones, and they come right out of the water.
After breaking in a new fishing rod, it's back to some serious fishing. Some fish will resort to any strategy to free themselves from the angler's hook, like dive bombing the fisherman. Watching sockeye salmon leap and cartwheel like cheerleaders across a sparkling clear lake and battling to bring them in is a thrill comparable to anything in the fishing world.
It's a whale.
A fish like this brings plenty of smiles along with it. But if you think this is a fish to write home about, hold on to your fishing pole, 'cause you ain't seen nothing yet. Just a short journey northwest of Anchorage lies the 27-mile-long Matanuska Glacier, which marks the headwaters of the churning Matanuska River. Rafting down the rapids of this glacier gray river can be the soggiest trip of a lifetime.
When we're in the water, we come to just a calm, peaceful feeling and beautiful scenery. We're able to just sit there and just relax and enjoy everything around us. And then all of a sudden you hear this roaring thunder of all this white water, and you just never know what to expect. And your guide says, hold on, because here we go. And then, oh, my heart starts pumping. you just, you get ready.
Looks like a major set of rapids coming up here on the right hand. Everybody button up, make sure you're hanging on real well. Get the bailing buckets all set. Might be shipping quite a bit of water on this one.
Matanuska is a formidable opponent, and your team is overshadowed by the river's linebacker-sized boulders. As the current rushes the raft towards the Mammoth Rocks at 27 miles an hour, you begin to wonder, just what in the heck am I doing here? Being blocked and shoved down 15 miles of a glacier-fed big bully can leave your bones bruised and your teeth a-rattling.
Here we go. Got a couple more big ones coming up here.
The whitewater excitement of the Matanuska provides just one of the many rafting adventures available in Alaska. And long after you've gone, its rolling whitewater and rollicking rapids will continue to splash through the memories in your mind.
Are Alaskan children any different than other children?
Well, they're probably darker because they're always wrapped up in clothes and stuff and so cold down there.
The Prince of Wales Island is the third largest island under the American flag and is known for its logging, sport, and commercial fishing. Surrounded by a dense forest of western hemlock and Sitka spruce, Klawock clings to a hillside facing a saltwater bay. Will Jones has spent years in this part of the Alaska outdoors.
Klawock is kind of a predominantly native village, and one of the nicest totem parks in all Southeast is located in Klawock.
Without a written language, ancient Indians devised the totem pole as a way to record important events. And from all indications, fish stories haven't changed much over the centuries. One of the fish that spawned the legend is the powerful pink or humpback salmon. These humpies are near spawning, so they're not fair game, but they do make for an interesting sight on the way to our fishing hole. In Alaska, a guide can help you make the most of the time you have available to fish. And Will Jones is about to give a Utah doctor an introduction to wetting a hook for the first time in humpback territory. This angler's fishing skills may be a little limited, but with this many fish, even when a novice casts a lure into the water, the inevitable is bound to happen.
Same Will? Oh, wow.
This lightweight member of the salmon family can put up a fight you'd think would come from one of his weightier counterparts. The salmon novice not only needs help with the strike, but with the landing as well.
See? How big do you
Then
think
there
is
are
this?
times when the experienced guide wishes his client was just around the next bend.
I think I got a nice one here. Ah, what a fight.
Yeah. Need some help?
I might need some help netting it. It's kind of lively.
Makes me hungry just looking at it.
Yeah,
That's a male, isn't it?
yeah, I think so.
Sometimes you wish the guy would
see
take
that
his
bar
comments
there?
and jump in the lake.
How deep do you think that water is?
I could see one log that had 2 or 3 lures on it. And it was so clear that from the shore I could even read what kind of lure it was.
I don't think I want to just leave it there. You dare me to get it? Okay.
Some people will do anything for a dare.
It doesn't look all that deep.
You could see the bottom everywhere. And to me, if I can see the bottom, that means it's shallow.
I wouldn't do it for 2 lures.
Well, so much for the seeing the bottom means shallow theory.
2 lures.
I was only a few feet from the lures when suddenly I was in over the top of my chest waders. Water just pouring in. And it wasn't warm water either. It was probably about 32.1 degrees.
Prize catch.
Was that worth it for $1.50?
Both of them together is $3. Look at that. Couple of nice ones.
Oh,
huh?
yeah. He finally went swimming, waders and all.
Look at this. Yeah.
Maybe I'll drain those. There aren't any leeches around here, are there?
If there are, you'll soon know about them.
He's got a silver. Look at that.
Oh, man, this is a strong fish.
They are big fighters. Look at that. Oh.
I think I was most excited when I hooked that one and it started to jump. The power on the end of that line was really exciting.
These silvers have been out of saltwater a while, but
They're still good eating fish. There's nothing wrong with that.
Now, do I dare put my hand in his mouth?
Catch him in the gill.
Okay.
Just like that. You can eat, yeah, right in there. Just grab him right in the throat. You got him. Pretty fish. You see a lot of people with their first salmon, they really get excited. And it's about as much fun watching people catch their first fish as it is actually to be out fishing for the salmon yourself.
Yeah.
Oh, still got him? No, the hook's out.
I like to release fish, but I was not going to release that one. It was the first silver I'd ever caught, and it was the biggest fish I've ever caught.
You got him.
here we learn that before caressing your first silver salmon, it may be best to get to shore.
I'm going to drown him.
This guy just can't keep out of the water.
What a fish. What a fisherman won't go through to keep a fish. I thought he was going to bring it up in his mouth, just like an old bear, the way he was going after that fish.
Fish tried to kill me.
The feisty silver salmon is a sportsman's dream, a fish that some will go to any length to get.
I didn't care if I had to get in the water up to my eyebrows. I was going to get it back, and I did. And I got it back, and it's smoked up now, ready to eat.
The railroad is an Alaskan experience not to be overlooked. These city girls will be traveling by rail on the first part of a journey that will not only leave the city behind, but time itself. A journey into part of Alaska's past. Traveling aboard the Alaska Railroad is a leisurely way to view the impressive countryside and chug the 233 miles from Anchorage to Denali National Park, the home of Mount McKinley. Many Alaskans prefer this historic mode of transportation where the clock begins turning back from the first moment the wheels grab the rails. What teenage girls usually like best is teenage boys, but with some of the world's most wondrous sights right outside the train's windows, well, they'd probably still take the teenage boys. "35 stories above the creek bed, the train rattles across Hurricane Gulch. Learning to navigate a course on a rumbling locomotive takes a certain amount of expertise. Not exactly like a Sunday afternoon stroll. Or maybe a lower center of gravity is the answer. Just enough time to catch a few flies or catch a few winks before the train rattles to a stop. Now to a couple of city girls, things like horses and saddles can be a little intimidating, but the expertise of a guide opens the way to adventure and should make the introduction to a new form of transportation less traumatic.
And we get all kinds of people come on our rides, and it really makes it a lot of fun.
Okay, this here's Buck. Here, he's a big buckskin. He's real gentle. He's a nice guy.
We tell him his name's Buck, and it's...
Buck, you say,
No.
Buck. Why Buck?
On the back of his saddle, it says Buck. Of all other names you could stick as a warning, that's what I took it as a warning, this horse Buck.
And we tell him, well, that's because of the color.
I was really relieved to find that out. You sure you couldn't cut the legs off a little bit? I mean, just to slow him down, you know?
Reach up and set it on her.
Some city folk take to saddling a horse right away. And then there are those who aren't sure anything connected with the chore is a cinch.
Okay, I hope you watched all this, Alice, so we don't have to show you how to do yours.
What?
Some folks not quite so experienced, and they're a lot of fun, and I think that they really get a learning experience out of it. You watching this, Alice?
When it comes to nature, Alice jumps in with both feet.
Oh. Shoot. Yeah, is that the word for it?
Road apples, road apples.
I didn't know horses were capable of that.
This city girl's really in for an education.
And grab hold of the saddle horn, the back of the saddle, and just swing up in. Oh, okay. You want me to give you it? There you go. I knew it. Look at that.
This is too high.
The horse is too high.
Oh, ho, honey, ho, honey, ho, honey.
Hold your reins up short in this area. Keep his head up. Yeah, they're about right for
With the faithful steed saddled and feet firmly in the stirrups, it doesn't take long to take on a western drawl.
Ready to go, Alice?
We're ready to go.
I think the only thing Alice is ready to do is get off and walk. Just about now, you've got to wonder if this wrangler isn't wishing he had stayed in bed.
Girls ready?
No.
No.
Could we just not and say we did? Yeah, follow him. Right behind you.
A teenage girl and her horse, an American combination that in this case just doesn't seem to make it. The horse and the trail are sharp contrast to the pavement and the shopping malls these girls are accustomed to back in the city. But it's the break from the ordinary that brings much of the excitement to the trail. Seeing the land from horseback is a different kind of experience. Everything seems larger and more awesome when viewed at this close range. And it's not long before the seat and the saddle become one.
What kind of clothes do people in Alaska wear?
Well, like skin of animal, like deer skin, polar bear skin.
Many sportsmen dream a lifetime about one of angling's ultimate challenges, the king salmon.
Evan showed up looking for Chinook like everybody else in the last 6 weeks, wanting to catch a big fish.
For Evan and Alan Swenson, the dream is coming true. They've come to the Alagnak River, one of Alaska's many king salmon hotspots.
He was excited. I was a little excited. Here was this guy that traveled a long ways to look for a big fish.
This is called King Point. That's the one I want.
You bet. I'm going to have you casting upstream towards the mouth of this little slough. And I do believe that there's a large Chinook laying right off this break this morning. Right here in this smooth water, as it comes around this point, the Chinook are coming in real close, and they're laying off the current.
The guide furnished me with an excellent rod that he had handmade himself.
I just kept talking him into casting one more time.
I just had a feeling I was going to catch one, and bounced it along, and I felt a king take it, and I set the hook, and then the battle was on.
Okay, come on in. Come on into the boat with it. Come on.
There are few other angling experiences that prepare a sportsman for a battle with a mighty king salmon. One of these mighty fish on the line sweeps away all other thoughts. The challenge of landing such a powerhouse of fin and muscle is a test no angler can forget. The brilliant flash of colors as they break the waters of the Alagnak and Kenai rivers bring shouts of encouragement from other anglers along the river. And as the battle continues, each angler shares the pounding, throbbing excitement of the moment. And once it is experienced, nothing can parallel the excitement. the all-encompassing thrill as an angler shouts a call never to be forgotten, king on. And with good reason. These freshwater heavyweights have been known to tip the scales at up to 90 pounds.
What do you say weight-wise?
30-plus pounds.
Oh, yeah? And I said it was about 20. I was off a little. And it was great.
In Alaska, you'll find that it's not necessary to have the heart-pounding excitement of wrestling a king salmon to have a great day of fishing.
Alaska has a lot of waterfalls. Usually you have to work to get to them. They're not right close at hand. But every time I've gone to a waterfall and fished underneath a waterfall, there's been pretty good fishing there. I tell people a lot of times if they have to catch fish to have a good time, they went fishing for the wrong reasons. I like to catch fish, but if I don't catch a fish or if I do, it doesn't make any difference. Just being there is the experience.
In the Alaska outdoors, wildlife is plentiful and varied, but too often elusive and distant. Once in a while, however, you may have an unexpectedly close encounter with the most awesome and respected creature of the North.
A sow and her cub. And here they are walking out onto the tide flats. Matter of fact, there she is right there.
Most experts and guides agree that the Kodiak, brown, and grizzly bear are all the same species. If found on Kodiak Island, it's a Kodiak. On the coast, it's a brown. And if found in the interior, it's a grizzly. The bear counts both river and forest as his home, and no other beast can successfully challenge him on his turf. But despite his strength, the brown bear is really a rather shy creature. Accounts of bear actually attacking a human are rare, but when it happens, the results are often tragic. But one thing's for sure, if a bear wants food, it'll get it. Bear have been known to break into a log cabin and destroy everything. It can rip open a metal can with its teeth or shatter a chest of drawers with one slap of its huge paw.
The bear starts coming our way, we have to immediately get out of the river. If you have a fish on, just drag your pole in and lay it down and just walk away from your
But
pole.
out on a river without protection or shelter, a man and a bear may come face to face, competing for the same prize.
Now we all have a fish on right now. 1, 2, 3 salmon on the line.
We go to the fishing holes, and a lot of times the bears are there. And they're kind of cute. I mean, they're big, furry, cuddly things. People always think of them as something you can run up and pet, but the bears are dangerous, and they're more dangerous than people really realize. They're extremely territorial, and when it comes down to eating, that's when they're the most territorial. They stake out their particular spot on the river, and they don't like anybody or any other thing coming into that spot. But we have to fish with the bears because that's where the best fishing is. And we always have some kind of protection. We have, I usually carry a revolver, a large caliber revolver, and almost every occasion I have to use it to scare the bears away. I don't want to kill a bear. I like the bears. I think they're neat. But I also don't want to get eaten, so I carry the gun.
I got the world record silver salmon on this bear's harassment. Come on! Get out of here!
New experience for me was fishing in the same fishing hole with the bears.
Evan? Yeah? You know what's going to happen? No, what? As soon as you get a fish on that line, he's going to splash the surface, and that's going to be the signal for the bear to come to dinner. And then you're going to have a bear on your fly line.
What's the limit on bears?
All you can catch.
And the world record?
The world record?
On a fly rod.
Oh.
9-pound tippet.
Real big.
Aside from fish that are under the ice and some deep sea fishing, I don't think much of game. I think you're a lot better off to stick with Canada and the lower 48 states as far as plentiful game.
No, this is not Alaska. This is the beat that has taken us hostage in recent years. It's the sound of our obsession with the body beautiful. If it's not jazzercise, it's dancercise. If it's not slimnastics, then aerobics. Richard Simmons, Jane Fonda, and all the rest have us jumping and jogging our way to perfect health. But in Alaska, they've been jogging and running and rowing since the beginning. Talk about toning muscle, try rowing down whitewater or pumping up your craft. Upper arm strength, you gotta have it or you ain't going nowhere. Whether reeling it in, churning it on, or gliding over the still glistening waterways, your arms have got to be strong, or the fish will get the better of you. Pulling up the sails on a boat in the middle of the water, or practicing for it on dry ground, pulling in the catch, or getting ready to. Out in the wide expanse of Alaska, your muscles become as strong as nature is beautiful. Yeah, the beat goes on, but the health spa's got nothing on Alaska. If you're going to tangle with Mother Nature up here, you've already got to have what Jane Fonda's trying to give you on TV. Another beautiful body on which Mother Nature has been working for centuries is the Columbia Glacier, one of the most massive and breathtaking sights in all Alaska.
When we finally see the Columbia Glacier break into view, usually you hear little gasps behind you, much as if someone has just seen a beautiful woman, because it's really startling. It's so large, it's one of the largest tidewater glaciers in Alaska, that it's flabbergasting, really. And the first impression is most people drop their cameras, and it takes them a few minutes to realize that I better get this on film. I may never see anything like this again. Most people run out of film about halfway through seeing the Columbia Glacier, and they scramble to put more film in their camera because all you really hear as a pilot are oohs, ahs, gasps, and clicking sounds.
A wide-angle lens can hardly do justice to a spectacle 5 times the width of the Golden Gate Bridge and 25 stories high.
The ice formations, the crags and crevasses along the face of the glacier as you fly along the face and up over the top of the glacier, to me are another very fascinating feature. It's always changing. You go down there 3 days after you've been there and the glacier is totally different because it's moving, always moving forward and changing every day. In fact, the real action, the activity of the glacier concerns a lot of the shippers that run in and out of Valdez nearby, where the end of the Alaskan oil pipeline is, because they're worried about the icebergs hampering shipping lanes.
Only from the air can you begin to comprehend the massive size of Columbia. Its sparkling pools of ice-locked lakes speckle the glacier like thousands of Hollywood swimming pools. In spite of its splendor, Mother Nature is not finished with her creation. She carves, little by little, always changing the face of Columbia. Columbia reminds the traveler that his is but a glimpse of time, a fleeting moment to savor the mysteries of nature.
What is a bush plane?
Well, it's a plane that mostly goes in the bushes and flies over the bushes and around them, you know, and that's about all that it will fly. It won't fly in clear places and stuff.
Adjacent to Columbia, Prince William Sound offers a sharp contrast to the glacial ice. The shimmering, deep blue waters of the Sound are the dream of sailing enthusiasts. And Wendy Simpson and her charter service offers visitors to the Sound a chance to hoist their own sails.
Marine mammals here are just tremendous. We have lots of porpoise. They come and play with the boats all the time.
And I'm a porpoise expert. That's a daddy. That's a daddy. That's a mama. There's a brother.
Even though the chief deckhand is rather young, he's obviously experienced beyond his years.
When the sister comes up and jumps, the brother comes up before.
Often, strange sights can be witnessed in the secluded inlets and bays of Prince William Sound. This rotting hull once served as a fish cannery, floating about wherever the fishing was lively. A violent storm beached the ship and brought an end to the enterprise.
How many years ago did this happen?
Very long. 30,000 years ago.
How many? How many?
30,000 or 3,000.
400 miles south of the Arctic Circle would seem a strange place to find the recreational boater. Yet, as thousands of visitors discover each summer, nothing can beat Prince William Sound for smooth sailing and breathtaking beauty. The old cliches of feeling the salty breeze, watching the spray off the bow, and the billowing sails all seem to come alive when preparing to set sail in the waters of the Sound. Even inexperienced landlubbers manage to get the hang of things and feel like old sea dogs by the time a brisk northern breeze fills the mainsail. Sailing through island-flanked channels, you begin to understand why Alaska is called the Great Land. The taste of crab is one of the great delicacies of the sea, but it's not everyone that has the chance to catch the makings of their own crab dinner. The crab must be trapped, so the first order of business is the fun of catching the bait that will lure dinner into the pot.
We took the big fish that I would have taken home and used for dinner, and we put them in a crab pot.
I got something on here. Ooh, it's huge. Look.
You guys are really doing good. You know, at this
Jigging a lure in water that's filled with flounders can sometimes produce fish that are not hooked in the conventional manner.
What do you got this time?
Ah, rock cod.
Hey, look at those spines.
I think that's enough. Let's go get some crab now, okay?
All right.
Okay.
Crabbing is a deliciously different experience. There's no sudden tug at the line to indicate dinner has taken the bait. In fact, the crab pot is left for hours to work its magic. Then there's the excitement of returning and the thrill of raising the pot and the possibility of a dinner fit for a king.
Okay, try. Now, how long do we have to wait till there's crab in there?
At least 2 hours. Okay, let's go.
With a couple of hours to spare, now that the crab pots are set, what better way to spend the time than trying to catch a fish with a genuine fishing rod?
On.
I'm sure you got something.
Yeah, we're doing a little bit. Well, not moving very much.
Good exercise for you guys.
Yeah. Oh, there he is.
What is it?
A half a fish? What?
Wow.
You mean?
I hope maybe I got the other hand.
Look, do you think a shark bit that off?
Something did. I don't know.
Sometimes there just aren't enough fish to go around. Beneath these seemingly tranquil waters, your catch can become easy prey for a freeloading creature of the deep.
Oh, there are bite marks. Look at that, right there.
It may be a stroke of bad luck, but we may run into where we have one individual will do nothing but catch sharks.
Okay, something just hit mine.
That's pretty big. But let me wind up my line here. Yeah, I'll get it.
Think I could possibly have the bottom? No, I don't. Look at it.
Look at that pull.
He's sure that he has a halibut on because they come up like a lead weight and they do struggle quite a bit. But then all of a sudden this ugly old shark breaks the surface.
Just when we thought it was safe to go back in the water.
Yeah.
Dun,
Look at
dun,
those.
dun, 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 dun.
Although the Erie salmon shark is carnivorous, it poses no real threat to man. Although a swim in these waters may be something you want to think twice about.
Oh, yeah, I see it right
But
there.
enough of this excitement. Back to the crab pot to see what's waiting for dinner.
It's real exciting to watch the excitement that people feel and express when they pull a crab pot and see that their efforts are really producing something.
We pulled and pulled and pulled and pulled and pulled, and it was really, really heavy. And I was surprised that we pulled up about 15 crab.
All right, we eat tonight.
Boy, there's not much bait left. Look at that.
Oh.
Of the three kinds of crab found in Alaskan waters, the Dungeness is the most readily caught. This hard-shelled seafood will run about 3 pounds.
Are the males bigger than the females?
Sometimes, yeah.
Look at him try to go after my thumb.
You have to watch those claws. Their vice-like pinchers can draw blood.
All right. So you keep the males and you throw the females back so they can keep making babies.
Most sportsmen only keep the larger adult male crab, which are distinguished by an elongated body. The immature males and females are returned to the water to be caught another day.
They seem kind of
Crab
docile.
wars.
Yeah, crab wars.
Fatigue never felt so good. It's an exhilarating feeling bringing in a boatload of crab and halibut and enough tall tails to last a lifetime.
Okay, you guys ready to eat some of this crab now?
Boy, look at this.
Huh? Here's a good
Great.
one.
Listen.
Yeah.
How do you eat crab?
Look at these pinches.
I caught on fast.
Yeah, you got on fast.
Nothing tantalizes even the most sophisticated taste buds like fresh caught crab. But when it's crab caught in your own crab pot, the taste is somehow even better. On a lazy afternoon, after a day of fresh air and adventure in the Alaska outdoors, there's only one thing that will get everyone moving again.
It's supper.
You can dine in gourmet hotspots from New York to Paris, but a meal in Alaska can compete with the best of them. Like everything else in Alaska, eating comes on a grand scale. Food comes as hearty as the mountains are tall, and as wholesome as nature herself. Whether it's from a kitchen or a campfire, a barbecue or a box, Alaska cooking gives the word gourmet a new meaning. As grand as dining in Alaska can be, there are sights here you may remember longer than the taste treats of sea and stream. And the ocean playgrounds near Seward seem to be able to provide more than their share.
Out in the bay, there are quite a few whale and porpoise. Yesterday, we ran across a school of killer whale.
Holy mackerel.
There were 4. It looked to me like there was a big old papa and a mama and 2 younger ones. And we were able to follow them for 2 hours. Had them within 15 foot of the boat. They were just kind of playing around, basking in the sun, rolling in the water.
Up again real slowly. Look at that. Oh, man. There it is. Look at that. Look at that. Oh. I'm going to get a fish and see if I can do it. Now I'll fall in and they'll eat me. It'll be the best food they ever had. You know it, baby. You're starting to appreciate me.
There he is, right in front. Right in front.
I went up and got a couple bait fish and threw them in, and the big bull went right down and took that thing right out of the water. It was amazing.
There he goes, he's getting it. Look at that. Sure enough. Look at that. He went after it, and we got to catch him. Now, you guys throwing all that fishing bait or what?
The orca, or killer whale, has had some bad press over the years. He's actually quite a docile critter who's not above taking a handout.
And I got a call from a friend on another boat. It said apparently a person had a very large fish on, so we moseyed over that way. And I'll tell you, if that wasn't the darndest scene.
How big you think?
Big halibut are often referred to as barn doors, a term that literally describes the size of the fish. Females can reach weights of 500 pounds and measure over 9 feet in length.
Old Grover's playing it safe, isn't he?
Hey, Wayne? Man, why can't we catch any like that?
What's our problem? We've been out all day.
At least we caught more, but we didn't catch the mostest.
You can feel him turn. He just rolls over.
Yeah, he just pulled his tail up, he's going down.
And when you see that lunker laying there, and then you know the work starts. And you're worried about breaking your line, you're worried about this happening or that happening, or you're worried about him just making another run. And a 150-pound halibut has enough strength to never stop if he wants.
200, you think, huh? He's just hanging there.
He's 4 feet across. He's massive.
Is that right?
He's looking bigger all the time.
Oh.
There's the leader.
Anticipating what the champ will look like is the thrill of the fight in halibut fishing. Even when the dark silhouette of a large fish can be seen planing up through the depths, being able to have enough strength to bring it to the boat is another matter altogether. What may seem to be a subdued halibut is in actuality a master of deceit. Even after they've been shot and gaffed, their muscular tail and body can still yield enough power to sink boats, break legs, or pull a group of men overboard at the flip of a tail. Yet once in a while, angler strategy wins out over the brute strength of this heavyweight slugger. Indeed, to win a battle against such odds, against such an opponent, is an accomplishment to be truly proud of.
I think you probably got him pretty doggone tired by now.
He's got you tired, it sure looks like. Then finally we saw that 150-pounder come up, and I couldn't believe it. Those guys were pulling that thing up, and I thought it was never going to end. That thing was over 6 feet tall. I couldn't believe it. It was like honestly like a monster or something like that. I can just see how it can get in your blood when once you catch something like that, you've just got to go for more and more.
It's next to impossible to capture in any medium the real enjoyment, excitement, and beauty to be found in the great land. People are finding something here they've never found before, seeing things they've never seen before, experiencing something they've never felt before. Only with a visit do the misconceptions give way to the real Alaska and the limitless adventure to be found in Alaska Outdoors.